So interestingly enough, Chris Eubank Jr. he's back calling for the Canelo fight again. You know, and I say interestingly because we've heard, like, it's crazy with this guy because we're hearing 1 minute Charlo, 1 minute Canelo, then Charlo again, then Canelo. Now he's saying that the fans are calling for him to fight Canelo and that Canelo should either fulfill his obligation to fight him, given the fact that he's highly ranked by the WBA, or he should vacate. And then he's going on to say that, you know, fans are calling for it. Well, I don't know. He's told that to the BBC. I don't know if any fans, well, I've not heard any fans call for Eubank Jr. versus Canelo. We've heard them call for, you know, Canelo to fight Billy Joe. We've heard them calling for him to fight Callum Smith. Some have called for a Triple G fight, but not many. Some have called for him to go up to 175 and, you know, fight some of the guys up there. Some have even called for him to fight Charlo, you know, at 160 or 168. But I haven't heard anyone mention Eubank Jr. other than Eubank Jr. himself. He's been going back and forth, mentioning both Canelo and Charlo for the last, seems like about a year now. You know, the plan originally for him was to fight on Charlo's undercard, which he did back in December last year when he fought Korobov. He lost the first round against Korobov, and then Korobov obviously subsequently got injured. Then it was planned for him to fight Charlo. Now obviously we know this year has not been, you know, exactly smooth sailings for anyone, and Charlo ended up fighting Derevyanchenko, which was a good fight. It was a great fight. But there's literally nothing about Eubank. You know, we see that he was starting to train with Roy Jones, and as I've said many times, and I don't understand why. Like, put it like this, right? Roy Jones, great fighter, but great fighters don't always make great trainers. And Roy Jones, from a technical point of view, was never exactly the best fighter in the world. From a technical point of view, he was athletic. So in terms of Eubank Jr., athleticism is fine with him. It's the technique he needs working on. That's why I think he needs to work with a trainer who is a little bit more grounded in the fundamentals. You know, personally, that's what I think. Anyway, all about trainers. In terms of him versus Canelo, like, as I said, he's been calling for that fight for a while. He really does seem to have, I don't know, taken a backward step in terms of what he's been saying about things. Like, he's no longer, I'm quoting an article from Boxing Scene, and, you know, he's saying basically that, look, he's happy with what he's done in his career, he's financially stable, you know, he's done X, Y, and Z. He didn't mention any world titles because obviously you can't count the IBO as a world title. It's not. So he's obviously looking, in my opinion, he's looking for that big fight against Canelo. He wants that fight. And, you know, a lot of people do. I think maybe a lot of people are thinking now if they catch Canelo with a bit of ring rust, it'd be, you know, handier for them. But, you know, Canelo's been out of the ring for a year before. He was out of the ring a year when he fought Triple G in the rematch. And bear in mind, Triple G had a fight in the interim. He looked just fine. And it looked even better. So, Canelo, is it likely he'll fight this year? He's not going to fight this year. Probably not. Probably next year at some stage. But who will Canelo fight? Well, I can't see him fighting Eubank because I don't think the only people who would want to see Eubank fight Canelo are the people who want to see Eubank Jr. get the crap beat out of him. That's the only thing I can think of because I don't want to see that fight. You know, Eubank Jr. could be game, but he is worlds apart in terms of skill from Canelo. I think him against Charlo might have a bit better shot against Charlo, maybe. Although Charlo is quite good. You know, Charlo is very good, and Charlo is huge at middleweight. Like, I really couldn't believe how much bigger he was than Derevyanchenko. Charlo, for someone who came up from 154, he is massive at that weight. For some reason, I don't know why, but it's almost like Eubank Jr., I don't know if he still is, but at the time, right about this time last year when the Korobov fight was announced, he was working with Al Heyman. You know, he was working with Al Heyman, he was having an advisory role with Al Heyman, stuff like that. They were trying to launch PBC UK, which lasted all of one show. You know, a whole lot of success that was. I get the impression that Al Heyman would like Eubank in there with Charlo, because that would be, you know, a good name for Charlo. You know, it's someone to help build Charlo. But I get the impression that Eubank, not that he doesn't want, not that he's afraid of Charlo or anything like that, but he wants the Canelo fight because it's a big money fight. You know, it's definitely a big money fight. Eubank isn't a big name in the States, lest we forget. So he would be beyond the B-side. You know, that's why he would be. But he'd get well compensated for the Canelo fight. And, you know, I saw Ade say that maybe he's looking to see what Canelo does if he fights Yildirim. Can he use however the performance Canelo does against Yildirim if he goes over 3 rounds as, you know, a bit of leverage or anything like that? I don't know about that. Different fighters, different styles. I think Canelo would blast Yildirim out, though, to be honest with you. Blast him out of there in a round or two. Seriously. So he'd blast him out. But Yildirim's nothing special. But, it's interesting. Eubank Jr. back out calling for Canelo. He's not really been calling for Billy Joe too much. He's been just more so having a go at Billy Joe. We're hearing kind of this, that, and the other about Charlo. At the end of the day, Eubank's probably not going to fight this year. Who is he going to fight next year? What the hell is going on with his career? Because lest we forget, when he fought the Gale, the plan for him was to fight 3 or 4 times in 2019. He just went completely stagnant for that year, and then out of the blue, he's fighting Korobov, and now, what's going on now? So as I said, he's been with Roy Jones, but like I said, that just because a fighter was a great fighter doesn't necessarily mean he'd be a good trainer. Doesn't always mean that. A lot of the best trainers in boxing were not necessarily good fighters. It has to be said. So take that into consideration. Look, I don't know what Eubank Jr. is going to do. I wonder, does he ever regret leaving Eddie Hearn? I wonder, does he ever regret that? God only knows. He's made his money, though, to be fair. So from a financial point of view, he's set. But I'm sure that he feels that he could have got a real world title. I'm sure he feels that he is due a real world title. That maybe he has the ability for a real world title. But, at the end of the day, what can you do? And look at the middleweight division. That's a tough division, man. It's a tough division. And 168, even harder. In terms of, those guys are a lot bigger than him. So that's Eubank Jr.'s situation. Let me know your thoughts down below. Let me know your thoughts on him saying that the fans want to see him fight Canelo. Do you agree? Are you one of those fans who wants to see that? And if you are, let me know why. Hope you enjoyed this video, peeps. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe. Of course, as always, if you are new to the channel, just smash the like button, as I always ask. King of Ripped Jeans, you know that? Yeah. King of Ripped Jeans, always asking to smash the like. Hope you enjoyed it anyway, guys. I'll talk to you. Peace.